of the 64 surviving members of our class, 36 have passed. We have 64. Today we have 21. And the reason is that most people with whom I spoke or who communicated with Lainey or our committee, they have mental challenges, or their spouses do, or their partners do, or they themselves are mentally challenged or physically challenged. Is that a surprise? Well, it was to me, and probably to most of you too, it would be. But it is a reality. So we did get some regrets from Betty Freitas Tingley, from Mary Lynn Cosgrove Parento, from Marcia Davis. And so they normally would come, but they're not able to come. So Alice Camara too, she's fine, but she just came back last weekend for her brother John's 90th birthday. So she felt she couldn't endure the 5-hour trip from New York, so. Okay, but I would like to, and John Dinsmore, who's in Centerville, Indiana, he realized that today is his birthday.
We need to call him.
What?
We need to call him. We have his number.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Good idea. And we could use the, yeah. Okay, so do you want to get his number and then come on up, Lainey? Okay. So he called and he said he's having a lot of people who are celebrating his birthday coming to his house today, so we can't come. Nor can he join in on the Zoom because it's going to interfere at 3:30 with his party. Huh?
He can answer the phone.
He can certainly answer the phone.
Lainey, you give him tell him.
Okay. We got a lovely note from Ann Healy, and I want to read that. She's up in Penobscot, Maine. Dear Priscilla, declining the chance to see you and my other beloved classmates does not make me happy. Just can't do it this time. Oh, would I have loved to be in the presence once again of our esteemed Hazel Varela and Bill Nixon. My present inability to drive so far from down east Maine to northeastern, plus the health-related needs of my daughter and also my brother, are keeping me home. However, glad to have the opportunity of Zoom. Priscilla, I'm grateful for all your hard work for us. Love and God bless Ann Healy Leonard. And she said, P.S. enclosed a small donation for incidentals. So she put in $20. How sweet. Okay. And she's always been, as Arlene Johnson would say, that good person. All right. Now, you'll notice here on the screen, there are photos from our 50th, and that was 13 years ago. Didn't we look so young? Or maybe I should say younger. All right. Okay, so we can start filming. Are you filming, Jack? Yes. You are, okay. But where's the mic from?
He's getting it.
He's getting it. Oh, that's right, you're getting it. Okay. All right, so I want to welcome all the classmates who did show up. Lainey Carroll, I want to give her a special recognition. Lainey. Without Lainey, you would not be here today. Okay, you would not be here today. And she has done a marvelous job of communicating with all of you. Now, don't throw away those papers you got from her. My phone number is on there. If you ever need to make any connections with Easton, you just call me. I have a 24-year plan. That's my longevity plan. So you can call me. All right. I want to introduce our guest today, the esteemed Hazel Luke Varela, sitting over here next to John. Welcome, Hazel.
Thank you.
How about a few words?
It's a pleasure to see all of you, and it's really an honor to be here. And we hope that we'll continue to have meetings here for a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And we have Bill Nixon. And since it's not polite to tell a woman's age, and it is polite to tell a man's, we have 95-year-old Bill Nixon. Welcome, Bill.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to see everybody.
Here. Okay, go ahead. Okay. A few words?
Talk, Bill,
Oh,
talk.
a few words. You're on the mic. Now he's too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll make a speech. Say you look beautiful today, Tony.
His sense of humor.
We're so happy that you're here.
I'm so happy that I'm here. And happy everyone else. It's good to see you all. It's nice I could make it. It's a pleasure. And my life has been a pleasure. And I think that's from teaching. Thank you.
And we are so happy that you're still with us, and as we are all happy that we're with us. So I want to introduce our reunion committee. Remember, we started this 3 years ago. This was supposed to be our 60th, remember? And then what happened? COVID hit. So now I want to mention Alan Driscoll, who was on the committee from the very beginning, and the late Eleanor Freitas. We miss her terribly. And both of them did an outstanding amount of work. Alan is facing surgery in a week or two, so he's not able to be here. But I would like our members to stand. Lainey Carroll, you are on the committee. You're head of technology. Okay. Leela Melendi. Linda Roden. And Linda Roden. Ginny Haley. Paul Kelly.
Paul.
Kathy Kelly. Kathy Burke. Arlene Johnson. And Ivan Rosenberg, our Zoom master. He's not here, but you're going to see him at 3:30. Okay.
That's a scary thought.
Okay, and I want to thank Kathy Burke Kelly for assembling the photographs of our departed members. I also want to thank my son-in-law for producing the photographs. So I'm going to read them, after which we'll have a moment of silence. Okay, Judy Anderson, Jackie Wild, Caroline Skinner, Peggy Hall, John Iwaskowicz, Gerald Evans, Carlton Kafka, John Carlson, Marlene Green, Lawrence Chase, Lee Miller, Linda Slater, Tommy Healy, Joan Berry, Carol Frizzato, Joe Fuller, Walter Phillips, and James Newell. That represents 50% of them. And Kathy Burke Kelly did a beautiful job of displaying them. And she also has a rainbow, as you can see above, with the statement, "We will always remember." So we have James Langley, Mary Lou Buck, Norman McNeil, Connie Rye, Charlie Peterson, Brian Manning, Kathy Harvey, Don Colangelo, Susan Howard, Nancy Lockachore, Joan Burgess, Roberta O'Neill, Peggy Casey, Jake Jacobson, and Jean Fox, Linda Chase, and Linda Sturdivant. Let's have a moment of silence. Thank you. Oh, Edgar Moberg, I'm sorry. Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to comment on any of these members? Maybe a memory, something you'd like to share? We all have our memories. Take them with you and keep them close. Okay. I'm now going to introduce one of our committee members who's done so much work, did lots of calling after Lainey sent out the letters of information and registration. Leela Melindy Pierce. She's going to share her memories growing up in Easton and at Oliver Ames. And most of our committee members think that she missed her calling as a stand-up comic. Leela? No, it's all set.
It's all set. Okay. Really?
All right, I'll do it. You gotta hold it close. All right. No, you read your notes.
You're going to hold it? Okay. Can you people hear me? Yep. Okay. I grew up in the Unionville section of Easton. I was born on top of the Bob Skidoo place. So I spent my first 9 months there. And I had a little pet dog named Betty. Then after a while, the family moved to 8 Union Street. We had 3.5 acres of land there, in which one was a huge playhouse. Actually, it was a place where they used to keep cows. But all of us Melindys, I'm the oldest of 7, and all of us decided to make it a playhouse, get rid of the stanchions and everything, and just use it as a playhouse, which we did. We had neighbors on Union Street. They were the Camerons, the Websters, the Noises, the Knapps, and Wayne Benson. When we went to school back then, I walked to the Unionville school. It was probably a quarter of a mile, but you walked to school, you walked home for lunch, you went back from lunch, and you walked home again. And you best be back in that classroom when Mrs. Goff rang the big brass bell. She was I guess we would say, very much endowed lady, but I was scared to death of her. I was only 5 years old because back then they did not have preschool or kindergarten for me. So at 5 years of age, my mother and father determined I knew how to put blocks together and I could go to first grade. So I went to first grade, but Mrs. Goff scared me. First 2 weeks, I think I was at school, she pointed to me and she said, "You, get under the piano." So I had my Polly Flinders dress on and off I went under the piano. That was the punishment. Well, then she got really mad because I wasn't the one that was supposed to be the under the piano. It was the boy behind me. So I had some memories of Mrs. Goff. That we had desks then that were anchored to the floor with inkwells, so you couldn't move them around. In the summertime in Unionville, we went out in the woods and we played. We didn't go to Disney World. We didn't have any cruises. My mom opened the back door and off you went. We had 3.5 acres. You stayed there and you made forts and you played. And when the lights came on, you came back home. And when we came back home, we made stilts out of oil cans, whatever it was we could find. We were lucky one year and we got pogo sticks for Christmas, so we were able to play with the pogo sticks. In the summer, Dad would come home, and if we had done our chores, we could go to Long Pond, always the eastern side, to swim. So that was a big treat. And in the winter, we'd go sledding, and we went ice skating at Knapp's Pond with Arlene Knapp and Janet Knapp. And the neighbor next door would make us hot chocolate, so we'd go and have hot chocolate afterwards. The 5th grade, I believe, was when I came to this school here, the Pequannock School. It was a big distance from Unionville, so we had to take a ride in the car to find the school, first of all, for me to get on this big yellow bus to come to this building. The only thing I can really remember about the school is Mrs. Johnson was the teacher, and she used to scream, "Who slammed the bathroom door?" That was the big thing. And then if you wanted to, at recess, climb a tree, you had to get a note from your parents. But yes, you were allowed to climb a tree. Then it was the junior high school. Junior high, we remember the gym clothes that we had to get at the Betty Jean shop. I remember those because that's when you first had to learn how to iron. They had to be immaculate. And then I had Mr. Freitas for math. He never could teach me math, unfortunately. Occasionally we would walk, we would take the bus to school, but we would get off at Spooner Street and pick up Mary Lou McCarthy and myself, would pick up Peggy Hall, and we'd walk the rest of the way to school. And there was one day that I remember distinctly Mary Lou putting her hand in her pocket. She had a rain or shine coat on. And all of a sudden, her face turned really white. And I said, "What's the problem?" And she said, "You're not going to believe it. My mother's false teeth are in this pocket." She had grabbed her mother's jacket, and that was a big thing, let me tell you. Let's see. Well, occasionally, we walked home from school, and we went to O'Connor's newsstand, and we were able to get cherry Coke there. That was a big thing. And then at age about, I had the paper route. I had a newspaper route. And the kids on the bus would make fun of me because we'd have the brown paper bag and hide the newspapers in it. And I had that for maybe 2 years. And one night I came home and I said to my father, "I'm quitting the paper route. I've had it doing the papers." And he informed me in no uncertain terms, "You don't quit one job till you have another, so you better find something else." Well, being in Unionville, there wasn't much. You know, we did have McMenemy's, we had Splains, we had a few of the stores there, but not too much. But then there was a little Peasley store, which was a convenience store 2 doors down from where I lived. So I said to my mother, "I have to find another job. What do you need at that store?" And she said, "I need a pair of brown shoelaces for your brother's shoes." I said, "Okay." She gave me the nickel. Down to the store I went, and Mr. Peasley was a nice old gentleman, and I put the nickel on the counter, and I said, "I need shoelaces. What else?" And I said, "You know what? I need a job here." "A job?" "Yes." He said, "Well, I've got a girl here now, but she eats all my peanuts and leaves all the shells on the floor." And I said, "Well, I wouldn't do that." And he said, "Well, when could you start?" And I said, "Give me 5 minutes to go home and tell my mother, and I'll be back." So I worked there for probably 2 years, weekends, days, pumped gas, cut meat, ordered supplies, did whatever I had to do. And I never left a peanut shell on the floor, that's for sure. And he used to say you could eat anything you wanted. So I really got tired of malted milk balls because we had penny candy there. And Simpson Spring, my favorite was cream soda. So we actually got pretty much tired of that. But I had a wonderful time there. And after working probably just 6 months, he said, "My wife and I need a vacation." So he left me in charge of the store at age 15 and a half for a whole week. How I did it, I don't know, but he said I made a profit, so that was a good thing. And then, Dad taught me how to drive down near Monty's Ice House, if any of you remember that. It was down on Elm Street, and if I helped pick up all the trash that we had to take down to the dump, then I could learn how to drive on Elm Street. So that was a big treat. I don't know. I remember having Tommy Williams, the man that did the hay rides in town, come, and we had a birthday party one time for my 2 kids, and he did a great job with that. Now back to the playhouse, we had pajama parties there. And I think we were a junior or a senior. Mary Lou was there, Susie Vent was there, Peggy Hall was there.
I was,
And I'm not sure, the boys weren't supposed to be there, but since they were woods, who knows who showed up. But we decided one day I'd take the car with the girls that had spent the night and we'd go to Flyaway Pond skinny dipping. I don't really remember the skinny dipping part, but we did drive the car down to Flyaway Pond, which is nowhere there now anymore. So, all right. I left Easton after I got married, and we lived in Brockton for a while, and then we lived in Bridgewater. And we ended up back in Bay Road in Easton. And I had a daughter at that time who was just starting kindergarten. And I put her out in front of the bus where the bus was supposed to pick her up, and the bus went sailing right by her. Well, I thought, how am I going to get this child to school? My husband had taken the only car, and he was gone. So I called the bus company, and I can't remember his name, but a very old, gruff guy answered the phone, and I said, I'm sorry, the bus driver has missed my daughter. And he said, hey, lady, if you can do any better, come on down here. So I said, I can. And I found a lady that drove the bus a couple doors down from me. I learned how to drive it, and for 17 years, I drove a bus. And some of the people that I picked up were actually kids of you guys. I know John Carlson, I had 2 of his daughters, and I enjoyed doing that. That was fun. However, let's see, now when you drive around, you don't see the cow pastures, you don't see the chicken farms. They're all big homes, huge schools that we have now, so a lot of that is all gone. I'm fortunate enough to vacation in Florida, and the home I have there's an office. I went down, this was probably 2 years ago, to ask them a question in the office, and there in the corner of the office was a name shovel. I said, wait a minute, where did you get that shovel? I've got to read it. And she said, well, I thought you were here for paperwork. I said, I know, but that's the name shovel. I grew up in that town. So I really can't get rid of the history of Easton. That's it.
Thank you. How many of you have some of those same memories? Okay. And this was a 2-room Pequannock school. And I know John Conant over here, you went, and anybody else who attended the school? Ed Meehan? Okay, great. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask people to share one memory of Easton and growing up in Easton. Now, you heard Leela. She shared many memories. I'm only asking you to do one, so think about it, okay? All right, we'll start with Paul Kelly.
Hello. One of my memories was on Holland Court. Holland Court extended from William Street up to the Northeastern Grammar School. And everybody who lived on Holland Court had something to do with the school system. The guidance counselor, the junior high principal, science teacher, Galt, Paul Keyes, family lived there. Paul lived there. And in any event, there was a day I was riding my bicycle down from the school, and I was in sand, and I put on my brakes, and I skidded and went right through the railing in the porch of Gus Nelson's house. And upstairs is where Bill Valenti lived, who became principal. And I broke the railing, and I never knew a school principal could swear.
Thank you. And I can see the time is fleeting. We have to have dinner. But Kathy, one little memory from you.
I can't remember any memories.
Okay, well, we'll resume this later, okay? So,
I've got plenty to say.
okay, so let's have this table go up for the buffet, all right? Here, at these 2 tables, and then we'll go around this way. Is that a good idea? Okay, thank you. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to be meeting at Kelly's Place in Norton, just over the line from Easton on Bay Road. 9:30 for breakfast. So please join us. Also, Stan Clark, and you got a brochure, you got a flyer from Stan Clark. Stan has been writing for Alzheimer's. Come on up, Stan. And he's going to say a few words. Hopefully you'll support his cause. He's been doing this for 25 years. He's gone across the country twice on his bike. Oh my God.
Well, my story really starts in 1999. I was trying to figure out some way that I could help my sister take care of our mother who had come down with the Alzheimer's disease. And I thought to myself, well, my sister's up in Maine, my mother's with her, I'm down here in Connecticut, and I don't know what I could possibly do, but I do like to ride a bicycle. And so I decided that I would ride a bicycle and try to raise some money, some funds for the Alzheimer's Association. And I did just that. I connected with an organization out of New Hampshire called America to Buy Bicycle. And I joined a cross-country ride. I flew out to Niagara Falls, cycled back to New Hampshire, and raised over $6,000, which I thought was pretty proud. I was pretty proud of that, pretty happy. And we put all that money in an envelope, my wife and I, and we took it to a local Alzheimer chapter office. And what are you doing here? They said, oh, I got some money for you. Well, how much is it? It's over $6,000. Wow, where'd you get that? Well, I rode my bicycle. That's what I did. Anyway, that was the start. A couple weeks after that, I was thinking of what I had done and what had happened, and it was so successful that I thought to myself, well, the people who made donations to my effort know me, I know them, we like each other, so maybe if I were to continue to do this,
and
they'd continue to support my effort.
All right.
And that's exactly what happened. It became a passion.
Wow.
And right
this
here,
is so blessed.
with 25 years out,
Since we've been together.
You gotta ramp forward. We got the Zoom back, so you gotta keep, stay it short.
This is Marsha. Oh my gosh. Hi,
Can
Marsha.
you sum it up, because we got the Zoom back?
so I accomplished quite a
Ten
bit,
years ago.
almost $450,000
Yeah.
in 25 years, and I'm still continuing to do it.
And I have a screwed up family.
Just a quick note, there is,
My true name was
I have
Patricia.
it now,
I didn't know
the
that
pill has not
until
worked for
I
the
was
Alzheimer's
20,
disease
17.
curing. But what is working and becoming more promising is treating the disease as an inflammation. There are a lot of cures we have for inflammations, and maybe an inflammation of the brain is where we need to go. And that's, just want to say that.
And thank you, Stan. And thank you, Stan, for contributing in the most wonderful way, an exhausting way, and all the work you've done. And we are getting closer to the ability to treat the disease and halt the progress. Okay.
See if they can hear you through that way.
Oh, okay. Ivan, can you hear me through this mic?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Oh, Betty Osgood, is that you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we just see from your nose up. Maybe you can adjust a little. There you go. Yippee. And David Carr, and now
I'm down.
and Marcia Davis. Hi, Marcia.
Yeah.
And who is that below Ivan?
Dave Purcell.
Oh my God, David. Hi. Dave Purcell. Okay. Okay, now you can take a look at all of your classmates, and they're going to come up and say hi. But first, let's hear from Ivan and the rest of you.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I'll give the short 2-hour in summary. Anyhow, I left Easton, went to Cornell, graduated electrical engineering and computer science. Then came back and worked for Foxborough Company for a couple of years. Then went to the University of Rochester and got my doctorate in business. With that, I was a professor for 5 years, which involved moving to California, which I absolutely love. And then I got into consulting, left the professorial world, left consulting. In 81, I started a software firm and was CEO of that for about 6 or 7 years. And then I worked, then I was a consultant. I kicked myself up to the board. And then I was worked for another company for a couple of years, moved to Colorado, and then back to California where I consulted, and I still consult primarily with culture changes and stuff like that. I've done most of it in aerospace and defense. I coached at Buzz Aldrin for a year and a half, and I've worked on about 19 robotic missions. JPL and NASA have been my clients. And I have two things. I started a National Association for Aerospace and Defense Business Leaders, which we have about 2,500 members. And then I also started a nonprofit called the Uniquely Abled Project, which facilitates career employment for those with employment challenges. And I've done that because we have 2 kids with autism. They're in their mid-20s, but that got me. I married my soulmate in 94, and unfortunately she passed away last year. But it was a wonderful 29 years, and my kids are doing well, and I'm busy beyond belief. That's it.
So, Betty Osgood.
Okay, Dave Purcell, you want to go next? Dave and I were best buddies, and it was the 3 of us, you, me, and Dick Halliwell.
So Betty, how have you been?
You got to turn your audio on, Dave. Your audio's off. David, your audio's off.
There we go. I remember one year we were in a science fair. Ivan won first prize with his telescope that he manufactured, and Dick Halliwell was second, and I came in third. I still have that award on my wall, by the way. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Well, if you don't recognize me, I don't know if you can see. Maybe you can recognize the guy in the background there. That probably looks more like me with me and my brother Jim in our backyard on Maple Street in Northeastern. After Oliver Ames, I went to Seton Hall University in New Jersey and graduated with a degree in physics. I had no more interest in any school. And of course, the draft was breathing down our necks in the mid-'60s. So I signed up to go in the Air Force and became a navigator. And my first assignment was at Westover Air Force Base, just outside of Chicopee Falls. That was nice because I got to come home and see high school friends now and then. And during that 4 years, we spent about half of the time back and forth into Southeast Asia. Spent time in Okinawa, Taiwan, Philippines, and Thailand, mostly. After that 4 years, I got a lot of experience with all that flying, so I got to go and be an instructor at the Navigator School in Sacramento at Mather Air Force Base. I did that for a few years. Then I was transferred to the Air Force Academy, where I was commander of a squadron of 100 cadets. And that was a great assignment, great experience. And did that I was there for 4 years. And then the assignment people said it was about time I got back to being in the real Air Force and flying a mission type of aircraft instead of just training people. And so I got to go to England and became the operations officer of the squadron that flew the European Airborne Command Post, and our job was to fly around all over Europe. If got into wartime, we always had a general officer and a whole battle staff on board, so that if the command posts on the ground got wiped out, then we would run the war from the air. So that was the most fun assignment I had. Then after that, I came back to Sacramento to the Navigator Training School, where I was chief of training and retired in 1987. And since then, I worked for banks and credit unions, mostly credit unions, as the vice president of branch operations or vice president of lending and one thing or another. And back in 71, I married Judy Eaton, who was, I think, a year or two behind us. That didn't work out. We split up after about a year and a half. But when I came to Sacramento, I met my wife, Kathleen, and we've been married for 42 years. And let's see, retired in 2012. Love being retired, play pickleball, mess around on my computer, read, stuff like that. Life is good. Who's next?
Okay, somebody's got to keep this up. Pat, you want to go next?
Me?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, well, I was Betty Osgood. And like I said, I was about 17 when I found out my true name. So, but when anyone calls me Betty, I know it's from the good past and all that. So, anyway, after high school, I stayed around the area, and I worked at Goddard Hospital for a while, and I became a private secretary. And I went to Boston and worked there for, 3 or 4 years, and met my first husband. And we came to California, and that was, 1965 when we came out to California, just outside of San Francisco. So from that, I raised 2 children, and they're fabulous. You talk about the Air Force. Both of them, I've been blessed with both children. They're not children anymore, and I don't know how they got so well and so adjusted to life, but they're doing fantastic, and their families. So, but my son is still in the Air Force, teaching navigation to the pilots, and he himself flew for Air Force, and then he went to United, and then he got called back in the Air Force. So anyway, so I relate to when you talk about the Air Force, and he's teaching at Travis, and he did a lot of time there, but then he was in Europe and all over 3 years at a time. So, and I experienced a lot of traveling. So that was great. But that sense, not having them so close was a bit difficult. But I had great times traveling. So I waitressed for 32 years at a restaurant, and it's right on the water. It's a nice restaurant. They just had their 95th anniversary. It's done well. I did well there. And I became a waitress because we had an earthquake. I think it was not 1989. When was the earthquake? There was a big earthquake, a big one. And had been some before that. And I was really afraid. And I was too far away from my kids. So as it was planned, or whatever happened is I quit my private secretary job and got this waitress job. Right, like I say, it's a nice place, like 4 minutes away from my house, 5 minutes away from my house. So there I be. I never ever thought I would be there that long, but they were good to me. I did well there. I did go to Northeastern University. I forgot about that, but I didn't complete it. So I kind of omit that. But anyway, so my children are close, fairly close, but all in California. And I live up past Sacramento now. I still have a house down in Moss Beach, which is just below San Francisco. It's about 17 miles below San Francisco. And that's my income. And I've lived here for 18 years. And it's Sun City, Lincoln Hills, which is a retirement for community for retirement or 55 plus. And you have, it's amazing. You never will be lonely, and it keeps you active, and that's what it's supposed to be for. So I'm very happy here. I love life. Life has been good to me. It's even getting better and much easier. So I love still people. I try to socialize quite a bit. And love seeing all you guys. I really did. And I lost my album, my Oliver Rames album, and in the moves. And I just regret it. I have one picture that there's quite a few. It's most of us there, and it's and I have that. That's the only thing I have left for the memories of Oliver Rames. But Oliver Rames was good. It was a good school. Yeah. I lost my brothers, and that's about it. I have a good life. So, and I'm pleased to see all of you. Next one. Is that Marsha? Is that you? Were you Marsha Davis?
Yeah. No, not anymore, but I was.
No, you were. You lived on Main Street.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And then
we buddied for a while.
Yep, we did. We did.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I didn't realize it was when I was on Main Street, because in high school, we lived down on Judith Road, which was nearer the school.
Oh, okay. Then I knew it was I don't think I ever came to your house, but I know it was in that vicinity.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about you.
Yeah, we got to be aware there's probably a whole bunch there that probably want to share too and want to hear from them. So,
right. I was going to shorten it up a lot. I got married. I had 2 kids. One of them lives down the street from me now. The other one lives 6 miles away. Both of them work in the hospital system. One's a nurse. The other one faints at the sight of blood. I worked at Woods Hole for, 15, 16 years. Went to sea a couple of times. Going to sea is like going to jail with the added risk of drowning. And then after that, I went to worked at Harvard in the extension school for a few years until I remarried. The guy who was in charge of he was a chemistry department chairman, a scientist at Woods Hole. And we got married 18 years ago now. And from my luck, he's British. So we go to England almost every year. We're going at the end of this month. Because his sisters both live there still. So we go to England usually in October to celebrate his birthday and our anniversary, which we had on the same day as his birthday. I don't want any forgetting, and in the winter we go to Florida. So and the rest of this time we're on Cape Cod. Really tough life.
We're in Cape Cod.
We're in Falmouth.
Okay.
We actually live in the village used to be called Hatchville, but now it's they call it East Falmouth, which I think is much less exciting than Hatchville. I like Hatchville.
You have a good life.
It's sort of out in the country, which is nice too. So,
So Alice, maybe you're next.
Yeah, sorry, I came on a little late. Where is that group sitting? Are they in a restaurant?
yeah.
I saw Priscilla at the front. I assume that's all our classmates, right?
Yes, and the FBI and the IRS are probably in there somewhere too.
No CIA?
Well, of course, but we can't say that. It's their secret.
Ivan used to live down the street from where I grew up on Bridge Street. You were on Main Street.
Yep.
Around the corner. Let's see. I was, after school, I went to St. Elizabeth's School of Nursing with Betty Freitas. I don't know if she's on this call or not. And that was fun, being in Boston. But I had wanderlust, so a couple of my classmates and I decided we were going to go to California, which we did in November '63. And we worked at the VA there for a couple of years. But, we lived in Long Beach, right by the water, which was fun. It was fun to have that California experience. So afterwards, we were planning to go to Europe. I guess a lot of, at the time, nurses were going to Europe to work. However, we quit our jobs and everything. And just before we left, the two of them got engaged to guys they had met. And they ended up staying married for over 50 years. So they stayed in California. I came east and finally decided to go to Washington, D.C. A friend of mine said they were hiring at St. Elizabeth's Hospital there, which is a big psychiatric facility. And that was quite a learning experience to be there in the Vietnam War, when people from all over the world were coming there and getting in trouble psychiatrically from drugs, etc. So eventually I decided to go on for my bachelor's degree. So I went to the University of Maryland, which is in Baltimore, the nursing school. So I moved up to Baltimore and stayed there for about 20 years. I got my bachelor's and master's degree there. And then I met somebody from nursing school who was studying acupuncture. And that intrigued me right away. So I decided, why not? So I studied acupuncture in the 80s, had a big couple of clinics there. And then I was my spiritual path was up in New York. And I would, come up here many times. So then I eventually moved to be on staff at the foundation where the meditation group was in South Fallsburg, New York. We're in the Catskills, a couple hours from New York City. So I'm out in the woods. Well, it's not really woods, a lot of woods. And it's country living. I love it. And I've been here since 1996. So I'm still practicing acupuncture. I never met Mr. Wright, so I'm a single person. And I'm actually having fun. I have a great group of friends and a nice support group. So that's about it. I mean, I traveled to Europe a few times when I was younger. And I've been to Madeira, where my parents came from. And that was a great experience to meet my cousins and aunts and uncles who are still alive. And that's a beautiful place to go, by the way, if you want a nice vacation. And I guess that's about it.
Last but not least, Dave.
Okay, well, I'm still here in Juneau, Alaska, where it's raining hard outside. And not much has changed. I retired in 2008 from the Forest Service. We bought a motorhome, and for a good number of years, we traveled down to the lower 48 on Christmas time, winter time, to enjoy the better weather. But lately, the Marine highway system has been really tough. as far as no money, so they've cut back on sailings and they've increased the cost. So, plus with COVID, we've been staying home. We're avoiding COVID at all costs. So far, we've been successful. I did lose a nephew to COVID. That was back in the very beginning. Other than that, I lived in Oregon for a while, lived in Wyoming for 20 years, and now I've been here for 23 in Alaska. My wife and I, we've been married for 52 years now.
Wow.
She was the girl next door when I lived in Klamath Falls, Oregon. So we've been very happy. We have 2 sons. Unfortunately, they're both, one's in Denver and the other's in Star Valley, Wyoming. So it's hard to get to see them at all. Other than that, everything that I wrote in that biography the last time we had the physical session is still the same. I spent a couple of years in the Army in Baltimore, Maryland, at Fort Hollywood, the country club of the Army. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to you, Ivan. You can finish up the on-screen people.
I think that's everybody. I think isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, Priscilla, back to you.
Okay. Arlene, you want to start? Yeah, come on up here. No, you just have to say hi. Come on. Arlene Johnson, how many of you want to see her?
Yeah.
Of course.
I do.
Yes. You have to stand here in front. Okay, so everybody, when you talk, you have to stand in front. So you see, I'm standing in front, and you see me up there, Priscilla?
Yep.
Okay. Here.
Now, don't be shy.
I'm nervous.
Back at your neck.
Whoop. I have to act short.
No, take a step back.
Just step back. Step back. That's it. This is
There
a
you
training
go.
program. A little bit more to the front. Okay. There you go. Hi.
Hi. Where are you living now?
Still in the Cape. I should see you for lunch tomorrow.
You got to be kidding.
No. Still in Brewster.
Still in Brewster?
Yep, retired. Kids are all scattered. I have 2 out in Utah where we travel often. David, I might come up and see you. My daughters are both in the greater Boston area. And I've been retired.
Get it right, Arlene.
Yeah, I know. What else to say? Life is good. I went to nursing school, then went on to BU for a BS and an MS, and worked in elderly housing in Haverhill. So I've kind of jumped around a bit. We lived in Boxford. I just found out this week that I lived about 5 miles from Dick Hallowell. Other than that, it's been a pretty good life.
Is Dick there?
Dick is not. He's having surgery, actually, I think next week. But he's okay.
Would you give him my best, please? I mean, Dave and I and Dick used to hang out together, and
I will call him
I
tonight.
appreciate you saying hi to him.
I will call him tonight, Ivan.
Okay, now listen, she didn't tell you that she just came back from 10 days climbing mountains in Portugal this past Sunday. Well, what do you think?
Wow.
Yeah, I love to travel, get around a little bit. And I'm very thankful to have good health and a good life. And you all look terrific. It's been fun.
Thank you. Thank you.
The biggest accomplishment is we're here and alive.
Yeah.
Just remember.
Can I offer Arlene an apology?
No. Oh, you want to tell me about my umbrella?
You have to get up here.
Stay here. Give this apology. Okay, go.
Well, when we were in high school, the Pruses used to go away for the summer.
Yep.
And went up to Vermont, I guess. And they had a garden, and most of the stuff in the garden just died in the middle of the summer. So a couple of buddies and I used to go up to their garden and get rotten tomatoes and watermelons and things, and we'd roll them down the hill on the side of their house, and they'd smash in the street. Well, we did that one day, and Arlene happened to be a benefactor of a splashing watermelon in the middle of the street. And I was told that that was the day she'd got her first permanent. And of course, her dad, if I remember right, was the chief of police.
That's
and,
right.
We ran like hell to go home, but we stopped in the woods to look out at the house and saw the police car pull up. Thank God my parents weren't home and he didn't bother to follow up. So I apologize for ruining your permanent.
David, I feel, thank you so much. I feel better now that you've admitted that. But you forgot to relate the story about the day you squirted me with your squirt gun with bleach. That was even worse.
What?
Yes. Uh-huh. But I won't bring up the umbrella then. We had some times. Good to hear about it. Thank you.
Thanks. Yes, Dave, and she had a maroon blazer that you sprayed with bleach.
Oh my goodness. I managed to block that out.
So we know what happened to that. Okay. Paul Kelly?
Okay.
Look here.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay. What's that? It's good to be here. Good to see people around the country. I have some residuals coming, knowing that Bill Nixon would be a guest here today. I decided to look like a teacher, but I haven't been in the classroom for many, many years. Kathy and I have been married 58 years. Hopefully she won't argue with that point. And we are enjoying our grandchildren and our children who lived all over the country, to say the least. For the most part, we enjoy good health. And we still live on Purchase Street. Some of you girls would recognize a pajama party, or better yet, a frog party at the Burke House. John Conan certainly remembers it quite well. But in any event, I need to pass the mic on to Priscilla.
Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
Okay. Hazel, could you come up and say a few words? Okay. I've just invited Hazel to come up and say hi. Hazel has all her marbles that she was born with, and she is bright as a spring chicken.
It's a pleasure to say hello to all of you. And I do want to have one person stand up who actually is older than I am, and most of you will recognize him, and that's Bill Nixon. So if Bill would mind standing. I'm sorry, Bill.
Wow.
Bill lives now on the Cape, but his many accomplishments here are so special that it's important, I think, that we recognize his being here. So I want to congratulate all of you and wish you a long, enjoyable life. And remember your OA experiences. And I think Mr. Nixon is coming. He's actually left Northeastern and is now living on the Cape with part of his family.
He's living in Berkeley.
Let's stop right here. Stop right here. Okay. Okay, now look.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here this afternoon. Glad to be anywhere this afternoon. And I'm happy when I could make it and happy to see you all here. And I'm going to give you my blessing by not saying any more. Thank you.
Can I say?
We wish you many more enjoyable years. Thank you.
I have, while we're up here, I have a fun trivia question for everybody online and here. Does everybody remember what kind of car my father used to drive to high school? because he drove it. He even used to drive me to high school. Anybody remember? What type of car? A blue Chevy. What year?
54.
What year was your blue Chevy?
Did I what?
Your blue Chevy you drove. What year? 1957 or 1958?
1957.
1957 blue Chevy. Over here, you've got a winner over here. Fun trivia question. Even me, he used to drive. I think he drove it well into the 80s. He drove it well into the 80s. Did anybody remember that blue 57 blue Chevy? Electric blue he used to drive? Well, it was famous. It lasted 30 years. So I just thought that might have been a fun memory for everyone. Thank you. Priscilla?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Hazel. Thank you, Tara. Tara Nixon, the baby.
I just say hello.
Yes, come on. Charlie McMenery. Come on, Charlie.
Hello there, you lovely people. Good to see you.
No, Charlie, you have to talk. Okay. Eddie? We have to get closer because they can't see our faces. Here you go. Okay, now you just come over here and just stand in front. Okay.
Okay.
Could you get back a little bit so they see up there? Your head.
Yes,
Michelle.
my head's
Get-
shot
get- no,
now.
Get back. Okay, right there.
Okay, I want to thank Priscilla for organizing and the other gals who organized this gathering. Really appreciate it. I don't know what I've recognized a common chord among many of the people here. Family was important. Growing up with support for schools was important. And most people were very successful in their own way. Some people, got a lot of work. Otherwise, other got various charitable organizations, and we all got our start in Easton.
Okay, turn around. No, this way. Face
This
them.
way, this
Face
way.
there. Okay, now get back. Get back a bit. Okay, stop.
Okay,
Okay.
I'm here. I won't stand long. I just wanted to again bring up a little bit of the past. I myself enjoyed teaching and coaching. I taught social studies and I coached, guess what? Track and cross country for 35 years. I then retired in 2001. In the meantime, my wife and I are now married 55 years. We have 3 children who are scattered around the country. Seems to be a common theme around here. And I was very involved in college and track and cross country as well as coaching afterwards. So again, I've enjoyed everyone being here and wish all of you good health and good luck in the future.
John. Okay, and now we have somebody who hasn't changed at all since high school. He is still the same good-looking John Conant.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm going to try to break the record of Eddie Meehan in time. Oh, you're closer. Okay. First, I want to say hello to K1IBX. Don't choke on your coffee. And my tennis partner who always beat me. And I'm not saying who. You can skip that part. Anyway, after high school, I went to Clark University, and going back in the yearbook didn't surprise a lot of people. Then I went to work and married my wife of 60 years. So far, that's a record, but I know other people will break it. I know who it is. Yeah. And then I went to work on Long Island at a laboratory and just did basic physics, which I thought I learned in school, but maybe that wasn't the case. And then we moved to Idaho, had a job out there. Wonderful, wonderful year. What grand sights. Every weekend we were gone in our little Shasta trailer with the 2 sons. And we traveled more than the people who lived there. Wonderful experience. And in 1971, we moved back to New England, to Connecticut, where we have been ever since. And I worked there for designing nuclear power plants. That was kind of fun. A lot of smart people there, not me, but a lot of them. It's a good thing. We did Millstone, which I know is familiar to everybody here down in Connecticut. And retired from there in, Linda, what year did I retire? I don't have that in my head.
2012.
Oh, 2012. Okay. So we retired in 2012, and then I worked another 3 years because they kept calling me back. I don't know why, but they did. Finally, I told them I liked playing golf more and liked living in Florida. And ever since then, it's been ride my bike. And I want to shout out to old Stan here. He likes John. He agreed that he would call me Jack if I would call him John. Linda calls me Jack, so don't ask me where that came from. That's a better story. Anyway, so we've been down in Florida ever since and living the good life like many of you are. And certainly want to say, oh, and let me do this. We visit John Downey frequently, and he asked to give his regards to everybody here today. So don't forget him or Callista. They're doing well. He's a wonderful husband. And with that, there's not much more.
Thank you. Thank you, John. and so we have just heard from a very modest nuclear power plant designer.
Whoa.
Yeah, whoa is right. Okay, Alan? Right there.
Right there.
Okay.
She says right here.
Here we have Ellen Swanson, who many of you will recognize, especially Marcia Davis, who remember Alan from the reunions we had in Bourne at Alan Driscoll's. Remember?
Say that again, Phyllis.
Down at Alan Driscoll's in Bourne. I was down with my friend Judy.
Okay.
And
Alan's in Falmouth.
Oh, you said Bourne, right? Falmouth, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I rented his house for a couple of years.
Yeah, we were down there one time.
This is another Alan, Marcia.
Yeah, Alan Swanson, that's me.
Right.
Yeah, and yeah, I remember most of you. I remember David, the last on the 50th. I remember. Yeah, when I left school, I went in the service, and then I moved to the Cape for most of a year, but there's no work. And then I met my wife. It was supposed to be a blind date, and when she found out she was getting, she kept me anyway. So, yeah, I had her for 43 years. She gave me 2 good kids, great kids. And that's pretty much it. I went into corrections and retired. And that's me now, retired.
Thank you, Alan.
Ron.
And now we're going to hear from Ron Madden. Remember Ron, remember his humor, remember his the good times that he gave to all of us. And today he brought so much memorabilia. He even has, Ivan, you're gonna love this. He has the Home Sweet Homicide.
Oh my.
Okay, look at the laughter. All right, here you go, Ron.
Yep, it's been a few years. I just want to remember, if anybody remembers this 39 black hearse that we had senior week at the school. Does anybody remember that one?
Yeah.
Get a little closer.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I got out of school, I went to work for Uncle. That's Uncle Sam in the Navy. And the first year I spent on shore duty. It was terrific duty down to Virginia Beach. That's before it really got exploded. But I spent the year there, and then I went to electrician school. You got on my first, I just call it a boat, but they called it a ship. And it was a geographical ship. It was a minesweeper, which were meant to go but not come back. But I got it when it came back. And we did a lot of secret squirrel stuff for the government, which was geographical survey stuff. I've been up through Newfoundland, Greenland, which at the time there was nothing there, absolutely nothing. Then we went over to Iceland. That I enjoyed very much, seeing all the hot water system that we shipped from 12 miles inland on open cast iron pipes down 12 miles down into the little town of Reykjavik. Now it's a pretty good sized city. And it only lost about, it still hit the town at like 212 degrees. So that was kind of interesting. Then we went over from there to Ireland. That was strictly recreation. And then I've been through the Bahamas, Bermuda, and up and down the East Coast so many times I couldn't remember. I did get married in 1963. That was especially after that 3-month cruise that we had up in Iceland. I get kind of lonely, so I decided I'd get married. That was fun. But I remember the class play, and I was playing this Sergeant O'Hara. And one of my things that I spoke about is, oh, I know all about it because I got 9 kids of my own. Little did I know that I would actually wind up with at least 9 of them. I have 2 daughters. I have 6 granddaughters, 1 great-grandson, 1 grandson, and the great-grandsons, I have 3 of them. And I have 2 great-granddaughters. And right now, one of the great-granddaughters, she lives with me doing Plymouth State. I live in New Hampshire now. And she'd be 8 months now, she'll be RN. So that's about it for me. But as long as I'm physically able to get up and go, by the way, I'm still working too. I'm actually a selectman for the town for the last 10 years. I work, come wintertime, I plow snow, or I work at the transfer station. Because nowadays it seems like nobody wants to work.
Thank you. Okay, Peter? Go, Peter. Peter Holster.
Pete Holster, hi, Evan. David, how are you? After I left high school, taught 39 years in the town of Norton. When I retired from there, I went to work with the International Fund for Animal Welfare as a marine mammal researcher and rescuer. I have 2 kids. One who's an English teacher and track coach in North Attleboro, and my daughter is coordinator of social sciences and full professor at Dean College. So that's about the extent of what I've done. I have worked with NOAA, Woods Hole, a few places as a marine researcher. Dave, Ivan, you remember the Jazz Festival back in 1960? I think it was, down in Newport. Good time.
Thank you, Peter. Okay, Leela? Okay, Ginny? Okay, Linda, come on. But you could leave. Okay, and here is one of the union committee members, Linda Roden.
I'm still married to Dick Beal. It's been 60 years, but the Conants have beat us by a couple weeks. So we had 3 kids. Dick worked for Hewlett Packard for 37 years, and I was a stay-at-home mom. And when the kids started going to college, I worked for the in the school lunchroom for a while, and then for a florist for a while, and then I ended up with Nancy Lacature's father at a dental lab for a while. So now I just garden and stay at home. That's it.
Stan.
Hi there, Dave Carr. Do you remember being in DeMolay? Did you go into the Masons? Not sure. Ivan, you remember the Mikado? You were the lead in the Mikado, the operetta we did in high school?
Yes, I carried the Snickersnee with me for years.
Yeah, I remember that. And we did the HMS Pinafore, and I was the captain in that one. Those were good times.
Wonderful times.
Yeah, I remember those times. I think I remember who drove that blue Chevy that Bill Nixon was talking about. One time we were at a track meet in Randolph, and as one of our players drove his car back to the school. You remember who that was, Bill?
No.
It was Jackie Wild. Oh well, interesting information. When I got out of high school, I went to Northeastern University, and I didn't do very well with my grades because I didn't study hard enough, so I left, or they made me leave. And then I went into the Navy because my dad went into the Navy, and I didn't want to get seasick, so I decided I'd go into submarines. And because I scored high in math, thanks to Kate Healy, our algebra teacher. Like some of you probably remember Kate. She had an inside connection with the Boston Celtics basketball team. And she brought that team, I don't know how she did it, down to our gym and played a pickup game one time when we were in high school. That was something I'll never forget. Anyway, I was in the Navy. I went to nuclear power school, was on an FBM submarine, was the actor operator. I think back now and I think about what I did, and I thought to myself, my God, I don't think I did that. Really? I did? Anyway, now I'm a bicycle rider, and I ride to raise funds for the Alzheimer's Association. Nice to see you all.
Okay, and now we have Ms. Techie Extraordinaire, Lainey Carroll, without whom this occasion would never happen. Thank you, Lainey.
Not true. It's all Priscilla. I grew up in Southeastern on a chicken farm, so I don't have any kids' stories. The chicken farm went bankrupt, and my father opened a print shop, which you probably remember, maybe not, the Green Flyer he started. Little ad newspaper that went around town. And I had to, when I got my driver's license, go around and collect ad copy for the Green Flyer. I moved to Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, in 1967, early, because I married early, had 2 kids by the time I was 22, no college degree, so economically we couldn't support ourselves in this area of the country. So I've lived there for well over 50 years. I live in Arlington, Texas, where the Dallas Cowboys play. The stadium's in Arlington, Texas, very large place. For my work life, I did the same thing my whole career, did system and software development, because I loved it. Half my career at defense companies, Lockheed, Vought Aircraft, a small company called Technology Development Corporation, and the other half on internet software for Verizon. So, retired. I have 4 kids, ages 60 to 41, and grandkids age 29 to, well, it was 3 till yesterday. She just turned 4 and gave me this awful cold. The kids split up. That's why I've got a really froggy voice. Sorry about that. My 4 kids, only one stayed around around where I live. One's in Seattle, one's in Boston, which is why I'm here at this time, and the other one in San Antonio. So from time to time I'm in the area, but mostly not. It's been good seeing you all.
Lanny,
Good to see you, Lanny.
that chicken farm, is that the one we got replaced by the Southeastern schools right next to the Confederate monument?
I think it's even further out than that. It was on the intersection of Howard and Prospect Street. Next door to us was a dairy farm, and I was telling people here, the people that ran the farm, one was named Gilmore and one was named Heath. It's the Heath farm. They used to name their cows after us. They had cows named after us, kids next door. But no, wasn't that one. I think the Easton Country Club is near there. I'm not sure. I get lost here now. I can't find my way around anymore.
When we first moved to Easton, we lived on that chicken farm, which got replaced by the Southeastern's grammar school.
Oh, the Southeastern Grammar School. I was going to say it might have been near the Bergerons, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I lived further out than that, way out in the sticks.
Way in the sticks.
Out in the sticks. It's Charlie's turn. We lost Priscilla.
You were in the submarine?
Oh, we were. I don't know. Down to Priscilla. Yeah, you have to go and look at the PC. No.
Can you get by?
Huh?
4 years. I didn't want to do. That's all right. I'm right there. Okay. Hi, it's Judy and Kathy. My name is Florence. I have a hard time. I tend to forget who I am, but I graduated from All Raves High School, and so did Judy Crone. And we really had a wonderful time there. And we're having a wonderful time today at this reunion, and hope you all can make the next one. And I wish everybody a lot of good health. So thank you.
Nice that we could all come, and hopefully we'll see you maybe in another 10 years.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Who's left? Who's left? Who? She did. Kathy? Oh. Yeah. Okay, come on over. Kathy, would you like to speak? You come up here.
Sorry, Ivan. K1 BCR. You could admit what that stands for.
That was King One Big Crazy Rabbit. Exactly. That was my ham radio license.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want you to, for Kathy Burke Kelly to say hi. Okay, Kathy?
Okay, can I turn around and look at the audience?
No, you have to look in the.
I'm sorry.
You have to look in this right here.
Hi, I'm Kathy Burke Kelly, and I've had that new last name probably, well, it's about 58 years now. And Paul and I have been happily married. We have 6 really neat kids, 5 girls and 1 boy. And, excuse me, please. We live a very simple life now, and it's a pretty happy life too. we have, it's just Paul and I in the house, accompanied by our little golden doodle, whose name is Jenny. And she's a handful, but I really enjoy living in my family home that my dad built 67 years ago. And life is slow right now, but life is good. So I'm okay. And oh, it's so nice to have this.
Okay, and I just want to thank Kathy for being on our committee. And she and Paul have done a wonderful job, and we appreciate all the work they did. So thank you, Kathy.
Oh, thank you, Priscilla.
Thank you for the whole 60 years that they've led us.
Okay.
Kathy and Paul, thanks for putting me up so many times when I would come to Easton.
Okay, so now I think, is there anybody who hasn't had a chance to talk here? Okay. So I guess I'm the last, but not the least.
For sure.
Hey, it's great to see all of you, every one of you, David, Betty, Marcia, Alice, Ivan, and Dave. Thank you for joining us today. And we are delighted to get together, and we've had a good time, and we've had wonderful food and so forth. You all know my story. I left high school, went to college, spent a year at the University of Stockholm in Sweden, and then became a school teacher. But I became very active in the 60s, civil rights, women's rights, and the war against Vietnam movement. So that made me go to law school, had a practice in Hudson Valley, New York for 35 years, retired in 2012, and came home to my childhood home on Seaver Street. And but it was bittersweet because my mother died in 2000, my dad in 2001. I had cancer in 2002, and then my younger sister, Karen, whom you all know was a nurse, was a year behind us. She passed away at 59 from pancreatic cancer in 2003. So they were 4 years from hell, but now they're great. And I want to thank ECAT here, who has facilitated this Zoom. I want to thank Ivan for facilitating it from your end. And I have been working, I volunteered 11 years for ECAT, but last August I was turning 80 in October, and I said, I think I'm going to outlive my money. I'm just too healthy. You're going to have to pay me. So they said yes. And so now I'm working 15 hours a week, producing programs and having a wonderful time. I love the job. My son's a Hollywood film producer. For those of you who don't mind sex and nudity, please, he produced The Dirt about the Motley Crue band. The Dirt, it's a Netflix movie. And so I'm just giving a warning for the first 5 minutes. Okay. My daughter has her MBA, and she's a vice president in a software company. So Mama is very relieved. The kids are doing great. They're on their own. No worries anymore. So thank you so much for joining us. And David, I think many of us would like to visit Alaska. Anybody want to go? Yeah, well, Kathy Burke-Kelly wants to say something. There you go.
Hi again. This party is sort of winding up a little earlier than I expected. So Paul and I live in our family home at 324 Purchase Street. Anybody that would like to join us afterwards, please come, because we get really bored. And so if you wish to continue this get together, we'd be more than happy to spend some time with you. David, we haven't seen you for a long time. Anyways, hey, that's all I have. Thank you.
Eileen,
Thank you, Priscilla.
high school song, what was one of our songs? Okay, can I have this? Sure. Thank you. Okay. Does anybody remember a high school song? that we can end this session with?
I wanted to just say, Priscilla, before you end it, thank you and the committee.
Yes.
This is,
Thank you all, really.
yeah, it's just wonderful beyond words to be able to be back in touch with you all and to hear what's happened. And thank you is inadequate.
Yes, I wish we could get together a little more often. You got to remember one thing, we're all checking the same block when it comes to the age group.
Well, I think we should aim for 65 years, right? That's only 2 years from now, isn't it? Isn't that right?
Okay, we need to do, okay, so who wants to be a chairman? I'm resigning. Okay, anyway, thank you so much. All the best. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Penny.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye all.
Good health, everyone. Bye. Bye. Good health. Happiness.
This one? Okay. All right. May I have your attention? Tomorrow at 9:30, we're meeting at Kelly's Place for breakfast. That's in Norton. You just take Bay Road toward Norton. You go over the line and you'll see it on the right. Kelly's Place.
It's on Route 123.
Route 123. Huh?
Don't follow.
Oh, sorry, not Bay Road, 123. Okay. Also, we have been invited to join the classes of 1961 and 62 on their monthly luncheons. And they're held the last Thursday of every month in different restaurants. You order off the menu, you pay your own individually. And the next one is Thursday, September 28th, 1 o'clock at Doyle's in Southeastern on 138. We all know Doyle's, okay. If any of you are interested in joining in any month, the last Thursday of the month, give me a call. You all have my phone number. Don't throw away the stuff that Lainey gave you, or put my phone number in your phone. And give me a call, and I'll let Carol Giacuto of 1961 know. They get about 20 to 25 from that class. Some of you know Rick Coe. He's always there. Sharon Baird in 62, his wife. Linda Camara, Alice's younger sister, and her husband, John Amorum. Alan Parento, if he's up from North Carolina, will be there. So there are a lot of people that we know. You'll know them all, so please join. Also, tomorrow from 2 to 5, I am doing more interviews on my ECAT show, Growing Up in Easton. These are important shows. They'll be archived with the Historical Society on 100-year digital discs. So they're gonna last. We're giving 3 to each. 2 they're able to loan out. 1 must stay forever, ever, at the Historical Society in the library. Future generations are never going to understand, and they're going to marvel at the childhood that you and I had. It'll never happen again. The freedom, the independence. Come home when the streetlights go on. I mean, come on. So it's very important, and I want to thank Peter Holster, Ron Madden, Stan Clark, John Conant, Arlene Johnson, and Leela Melendi for bearing with me yesterday afternoon and so forth. And all of you who have email, or you have a friend who does, please give that information to Lainey, because we're going to send you a link of this program yesterday, today, and all of your classmates Growing Up in Easton sessions, including Ivan Rosenberg, who did the most wonderful one 8 years ago. So I have, please, I'm going to put this by the door. Don't leave without signing up, okay? Please do that. Not just for yourself, but for future generations, okay? Are there any other comments? Anybody want to say anything? Did I miss anything? Okay, so Lainey is going to send a link. Okay, Lainey, hold on.
You asked a question. We're going to call John Dinsmore now.
Oh, okay, you want to do that?
Yeah. I don't know if he's gonna answer.
Okay, she's going to call John Dinsmore.
It's his birthday today.
So we're all going to sing. What song? Come
He
on.
answers.
We know.
If he answers. He's got a birthday party going on.
If he doesn't answer.
I will have to walk it around. It's not loud enough.
Well, we'll sing very loudly, right?
Hello. John, is this you? Well, this is Lainey Carroll, and I'm at the reunion. There's a whole bunch of people here that want to wish you happy birthday. Okay, so don't hang up. They're gonna sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to